You just get out of it.
Leave the meeting.
Leave the meeting.
Afternoon.
Hi, everybody.
That's it.
Everybody hear me?
Got you, man. Hey, Brian.
Hey.
1 second.
Good evening.
Hello, Miss Ramona. How you doing?
Fine. How are you all?
Good.
Good.
Hey, Brian, what's the Zoom max? Got a feeling it's probably gonna max out today.
We've got 500.
Okay, well maybe we'll make it.
We do have an FHS option. We will be broadcasting live stream from the room that Brian is in on nfhsnetwork.com if we max out at 500 on this account.
Cool.
All right, what time is it?
You're good. You're a go.
All right, is Brian here?
I am.
There you are. Okay. All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda, of course, is to approve any changes or additions to the agenda. I don't think we have any. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
All right, Denny moved to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's Ramona. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, pull my agenda up here. Okay, first up is consent business. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So
Sorry.
All right, Ramona made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Betsy seconded. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that brings us to our the reason for our call. I appreciate everybody making themselves available on such short notice. We're going to have to discuss returning to school on Monday. Brian's got a proposal, so I'm going to turn it over to him. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Hill, members of the board, and those watching. This is a decision that has not been easy for me, as I have wanted not only my children, my child, but all children in the Oxford School District to attend school. However, there are some circumstances that have occurred both recently and some that we've been watching for some time that have led me to recommend a change to the beginning of the school calendar. And there is a draft of that posted. I'll be happy to walk through that, but what I'd like to do is talk about and discuss my rationale and purpose for my change of heart, at least in the short term. One, recently there have been some things posted that our hospital is full and capacity has been reached. And for me, that has always been one of the driving factors about us being in school, and one of the most important metrics where our hospital is. If I could get everyone, if you would mute, please, and Heather, if you could mute everybody except the board members, that would be appreciated. Our hospital capacity has always been one of the most important factors for me. I spoke with the mayor first thing Monday morning after seeing that. The mayor had already confirmed that at least for a very short period of time that the information that we had received was true. We both scheduled a conference call with Bill Henning from Baptist. And on that call, we learned that although the hospital is operating in a stressed environment, they are not operating in a crisis environment. And I think, one of the things that we learned is that, there are contingency plans that they can put in place, and that we are not operating in, and I think what had been reported, in a critical and crisis environment, which was good. However, then after looking at the metrics that I have been tracking really since the beginning of June when we started with our return to school committee, none of those metrics and gating options recommend that we start school. We are not seeing a decline in the number of cases. We've actually seen an increase in the number of cases the last couple of weeks. And at the recommendation of the governor and Dr. Dobbs, the state health official, it's my recommendation that we adjust the school calendar to August the 24th, and this is due to the metrics. We've also had some changing guidance that occurred yesterday with the governor in the mask mandate in schools, and we'll be addressing that a little bit later. Scheduling and staffing, and I'll say this, one of our strategic plan goals is to build a safe, healthy, culturally responsive educational environment. And we knew early on from the data that we were collecting from parents that there were a large number of our families who did not feel safe about coming to school. We gave them an option of choosing online or face-to-face. And at one point we saw the numbers, it was about 25%. That's grown to, 32%. And since we closed the survey on July the 10th, we've had 236 change requests, and then 90 more since the deadline of last Friday when we had our special called meeting. And of that 90 more, 60 of those occurred after the governor's press conference yesterday. I have not seen the numbers today, at least based on Monday and Tuesday. The numbers were down a little bit, and I think that will help us moving forward. I think, and this is really my feeling, is that if we started school on Monday, there's a distinct possibility that we will be forced into a long-term closure by August 24th. I think the best option for long-term success is to take a breath and see where we are. And although we are prepared, we've been preparing all summer, there are still preparations that can be done. I've heard from teachers, and we will make sure that their concerns are alleviated. And then I'd like to just point out, Corinth started last Monday, and really what the governor and Dr. Dobbs says is we've really got a model there to look at. Corinth has 591 students on their high school campus. As of yesterday, they had 5 positives on the high school campus. I can't speak to whether those were reported to school positive or were transmitted at school, but they had 5 positives. They've had 89 students who were quarantined. That's roughly 15% of their high school population. If we look at those same numbers and apply those to Oxford High School, of course, we've got about 1,300 kids. With virtual, we'll have about 900 kids who are attending. That puts us anywhere from 13 to 15 positive cases showing up on the first day. That would mean within a week, we've quarantined 135 students. And I think it's just best that, like I said, we hit pause and we regroup. The calendar that I've proposed before you, it does make some painful changes. And let me say this, I plan on asking the State Department of Education for a waiver of the number of academic days, but we are prepared if that waiver, and ultimately that waiver is up to the legislature. But we have the calendar in front of you, moves the professional development days to the week of the 17th. That removes all of the professional development days from within the year, and then the one at the end of the year. We've also removed fall break. The reason that we had the full week at Thanksgiving has always really been because of the university. The university takes the full week at Thanksgiving, and so we've done that as well. But it does move back Tuesday and then a partial day on Wednesday, the week of Thanksgiving. We have students and teachers getting out on the 28th of May. And so that continues, that keeps our school year intact. We will have, because we have not given a waiver for state testing will continue to happen. Our state testing window will be the 11th through the 15th, and this is really for the high school because it's Carnegie unit credit. And the blocked courses, our state testing time will be the 11th through the 15th, which will be after December, but it'll give us a week to get students in and review as needed. But this is, I know and I understand that this is not the most popular position and decision, but it's a decision as superintendent that I feel is necessary at the time in order to ensure our long-term success of being in school all day and every day.
All right. Thanks, Brian. It's a lot of information to process. I know all the board members will probably have questions. They may want to make statements. Before I turn it over to them, let me see if I can get some clarification just on a few items. We originally in July set a deadline for parents to choose whether or not they wanted to go virtual or whether they wanted to go face-to-face. And in my mind, that was important because I didn't want to be in a position of forcing a parent who was nervous about sending their children to school, force them to do so. So that option to me was extremely important. And the reason we set it in July was so we'd have time to plan, get our teachers lined up, get lessons plans together. Now, since that July deadline passed, we all know that the transmission rate has gone up and that Mississippi is without a doubt a hot spot. And based on that, I think what you're telling me is that parents have now, who originally elected to go face-to-face, are now calling the office and saying, no, we want our kids to go virtual. Is that what you're telling me?
That is correct.
Okay. And then when we met on Friday of last week, you were pretty clear. I'm announcing right now we're not going to take any more changes here at the last minute. We've got to cut it off. Now you're telling me that since that happened, over 60 or 90, how many parents have called wanting to change?
I want to say it's 90 more since the change deadline of last Friday. And I have offered and actually met with some of those individuals. I have not had an opportunity to meet with all of them to find out more about the rationale for the change. Of course, with 90, there's no way I can have individual meetings with
All right.
that. But that's the number approximately.
Okay. Let's say that school started on Monday. Would you be able to accommodate these parents at the last minute who wanted to switch to virtual?
No.
Okay. So we basically would be forcing parents to send kids to school who now at the last minute have changed their minds.
That's correct.
All right.
And I will say that, Bill, one of the things that this does by us, because every parent and every child is important. And I realize that this is a decision that there are going to be many people on either side, no matter what decision is made, unhappy. But we do want to honor the wishes of every parent, and to the extent that we can. And this has got to be a very hard deadline. We know what the issues are. We know what the numbers say. And I'm speaking to parents. If you don't feel comfortable with your child attending school, we need to know by 4:30 on Friday afternoon, because we have got to have time to make sure that we have enough teachers in the virtual environment so that we can provide quality support and a quality education. This cannot be like it was in the spring. It will not be like it was in the spring. It is going to be much more rigorous. It is going to be much more regimented. There are going to be proctored tests and exams, and all of that is out there now so that parents understand that. But we've got to have a hard and fast deadline. We cannot make changes after Friday.
All right. I'm going to open up the floor to other board members who have questions or statements they'd like to make.
I have a question for Brian. Brian, if we don't hear from them by 4:30 on Friday, what would be our plans? We'll leave them where they're at, or do we put them face to face or virtual, or what? The ones that we have not heard from, and we may have heard from all the parents already, I'm not sure.
Well, keep in mind, parents made a choice, even if they didn't make a choice. And the ones that we're hearing from now either made a choice or they are making a request from a change from what they already have. So these are the ones who have made a choice. I want to say, of the ones who hadn't registered, and this was last week, we had about 40 parents that we hadn't heard from at all. They had not registered. We don't know if they're coming back. So that number is very small.
Okay.
And I'll say this, myself and Miss Logan have gone around and done home visits trying to encourage people. You know, the things that we've done to mitigate risk are going to help. And that is reiterated by Dr. Dobbs, that, you know, school can be done safely. But this is at his recommendation, but it's also at, it's a scheduling issue. We can't supply those parents with what they're asking on the time frame that we have.
Okay. And we've been over backwards. We have done everything we can to give people and continue to give people the option. Let me open up the floor. Ramon, do you have anything else?
I'm sorry,
No,
go ahead.
that's it.
Denny?
Yeah, Brian, I guess my concern is, and again, you and your staff have done a fantastic job the last couple of months getting people prepared to be in school. My concern is that we kick the can down the road 2 weeks, and who's to say in 2 weeks that the numbers are going to get any better? They're going to get worse. I mean, I don't think anybody knows. And I think that the 68%, I know it's gone down a little bit, but the 68% of the folks that have requested to be in school in person, I mean, they're ready to be in school. And I don't know, waiting 2 weeks or waiting 4 weeks or whatever that number is going to make any changes. That's my concern as a board member trying to push this 2 weeks. And I'll take any commentary or any question you may have around that. But
I agree 100%. My child is one of those who needs to be in school. But I do think, and I'll reiterate this, that in order for us to have long-term success, I think this is the best option right now, based on the model with Corinth. I can't speak for them, but based on the numbers the way they are, I don't think it will be very long before they're fully virtual. And that may happen to us. My intent in asking to have the academic calendar adjusted is that we start school on August 24th. We start school on August 24th because those parents have made the choice and are willing to accept whatever risk comes with it, that we start school on August 24th.
And let's be sure that we understand what you mean when you say long-term success. I think, everybody on this board, we've been working hard to get the face-to-face option viable. We're working on mitigation. We've spent money. I think you're right. We're prepared, as prepared as we probably possibly can be. But if we're committed to face-to-face instruction in this school year, when you say long-term success, what you mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, is that if we really want face-to-face, it's better to wait 2 weeks, which gives us a better fighting shot to be in school in October face-to-face and November face-to-face. It could be if we started in Monday that we, like you said, we end up like Corinth is trending. And then we've lost our chance to go face-to-face. I agree. I think a delay gives us a fighting chance to be face-to-face and have what you're talking about, this long-term chance of success. And I do not want to be in a position to force parents, even though I know they made a decision, right? And they did it with the best data possible. But, today is not July 10th, 2020. Mississippi is in a lot worse shape. And there are a lot of scared parents. They have emailed me and called me. And of course, I've also got calls from the other side, people that want lots of emails arguing for school to open on Monday. I'm really concerned about forcing a parent to send their kid to school face-to-face on Monday when they are scared to do so.
Right. I want to
Go ahead, Betsy.
for a second. Sorry. And I think I'm on the same page as Denny. As a representative, I do feel wonderful that, we're blessed enough that we gave people the option to choose virtual or face-to-face. 68% choosing face-to-face. Yes, those numbers have changed some. Still think the majority. And just based on, I think all of our phones, we can't go anywhere without somebody giving you their very strong opinion, but the overwhelming majority of people who have reached out to me want face-to-face and want it on Monday. And I just feel like I can't vote for a delayed start because I feel like, as a school board member, I feel like it's my responsibility to represent these families who have chosen face-to-face, and it's still an overwhelming majority that do. I served on the Reopen School Committee with Carter. Ramona was on it. I know that even the legislators were, very impressed with our plan. It's thorough. I'm obliged to think that school is the safest place for these kids. If these kids can get out and play in soccer tournaments and baseball tournaments and go out to eat in restaurants, educating them is essential. And to me, that's more essential than any of these outside activities they're doing, than going to Lowe's or Home Depot or going out to eat. I think that I also think this 2-week data, we're in a college town, we all know it. College kids are starting to trickle back in. I'm no medical expert, but my gut tells me that our numbers are going to worsen as these college kids come from all over the place. And if we have any chance for these children to be physically in school, the ones who choose, I feel like the next 2 weeks is our best chance at that before our numbers could worsen with college students come back. And what I think about and try to filter everything through are these children that need that face-to-face. They need to build that relationship with the teacher, because we all know we're probably going to end up having to go virtual at some point for some period of time. But if these children can get in these schools, form a relationship with their teachers, as well as have these teachers check in on these students who need it the most. We know what some kids face at home: abuse, neglect. nutritional issues. To me, I can get I work full time and I'm a single mom. So I absolutely use that filter as well. It's hard on a whole lot of people. What are they going to do? People need to work. They need to choose between paying their house payment, their rent. It's going to put a lot of people in a bad position. I don't see the numbers improving in 2 weeks. I think it's vital that these students have that face-to-face contact with a teacher that can check on their well-being, their mental well-being. I'm not even as worried about academics right now, but just that contact, building the relationship before we go virtual. And I feel like I said, we gave people a choice, and still the majority choose face-to-face and on Monday. So that will be my vote. I do not support the delayed start.
Hey, Ray, can I mention one more thing? I'm sorry, just real quick.
Sure.
So Brian, you mentioned, and again, I know we're not we're not the hospital or have any control over the hospital, but has there been any plan or any of the conversations you had? We keep hearing how the hospital is stretched, they're strained. Has there been any plan or any action on how to increase capacity at the hospital? I mean, you hear there's plenty of rooms, but there's not enough personnel. I don't know what to believe or what not to believe. You may have additional information on that.
Yes, and that's a great question. And in our call yesterday, Bill Henning was not concerned. It was not, there was no real concern. He said, and basically he reiterated that we're operating at about winter potential. So it's not something that's out of the ordinary. It is out of the ordinary for the 1st of August. And so that's one of the things. But he said, we have contingency plans. We have rooms that can be converted into patient rooms, into ICU rooms. We can provide the care that's necessary. We are admitting patients. We are discharging patients within within hours. It was just at that one point in time.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, contingency plans.
Thank you for that.
All right. We've heard from Denny and Betsy. We heard from Ramona. Carter.
Yeah, thank you, Ray. I just want to say I'm so appreciative to everybody that's reached out. I mean, it's a really great reminder of what a special place we live in, because we've had so many people be active in giving their voices. And the theme of a lot of the voices that are about going back seem to be built around, of course, kids needing to be back in school, which I couldn't agree with more. And also ensuring that, the fact that, well, things will be the same in 2 weeks. I mean, I think we've always said that we can only deal with the data that we have today. And that is the only way we can make an informed decision. And when we're talking about the education of our children, I just don't know how you can't use science to make a decision when you're talking about the education of your children. And what does that tell us? Our state medical expert says, do not go back to school. That is the best guidance that we have at this point. And again, that could change tomorrow. We're living in very uncertain times, but I'm the son of a lifelong educator. And if I told my mother that I wasn't basing a decision based on what the experts are saying and based on science when it came to the education of my child and his 4 nephews, she would go nuts. And that is what I think ultimately has to be the basis for making a good, informed decision that is for the best of the entire community that we're lucky enough to live in. I would love for my son and his 4 nephews to be back in school Monday. It would be awesome. But I'm not a medical expert, but I feel like listening to those who do have that expertise is critical.
Okay. I think the moment is before us. Anybody want to say anything else before we vote? And I think the vote is going to be on a motion to approve the changes to the calendar recommended by Superintendent Harvey. Brian, is that your understanding?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Before we vote, anybody else want to say anything? Ask Brian any questions. Now's the time.
Brian, I support you and the district, and I'm going to vote no for this one, but I'm guessing it's going to go and be delayed. I will support everybody moving forward, but I feel like right now I want the folks back in school on Monday the 10th. But again, y'all have done a fantastic job, and I'll continue to support everything that y'all are doing.
Yeah, there are no easy decisions here. None at all. It is a no-win situation. I think you can tell the statements I've made, how I've come down. I think we can give parents a little bit more time, make some more adjustments, listen to the experts. I think we'll be better served. But that's my opinion. It's 1 of 5, and so let's vote. Who wants to make the motion to approve the changes to the calendar?
I will.
All right, Ramona has made the motion to approve Brian's recommendations to change them. Is there a second?
Hey, can we mute? I'm getting a lot of background noise, Ray.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
There's 366 people on, so.
No problem.
Okay.
I'll make a motion. I'll second Ramona's motion.
Okay. All those in favor of accepting Brian's recommendations to change the school calendar, which will result in a delay of opening school, say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Aye.
All right, so 3-2 is the vote. The new calendar is adopted. Is there any other business we need to take up, Brian?
Agenda item.
Hey, Ray, real quick, one thing. I do want to reiterate, Brian, and you've done a good job with it, but at some point we got to draw a line in the sand on the switching back and forth. I mean, y'all have worked too hard to keep going back and forth on adding or removing people. I want to make sure that the parents are sensitive to that and they make the decision, and that's the decision they're going to have to make.
That deadline is at 4:30 on Friday afternoon, and we're going to move forward with that.
And I think
On the 24th.
I think you can tell it's a close vote. So if you are a parent and you want your kid to be virtual, you need to make your mind up immediately. Okay? You got to let us know by Thursday or Friday. Do not wait. Do not put us in the situation that we keep getting put in. So we need you to go ahead and do that. All right, there is one more agenda item. I'm sorry. This is how to do.
So on August 24th, regardless of if the data worsens, we will be in school. We will have made that choice. So we're saying on August 24th, we could very well everybody be virtual. Am I clear on that? So people planning for, home for their children, tutoring, whatever. On August 24th, we will have the choice regardless to be in school. Is that my understanding?
Unless this board takes action otherwise in a called meeting, yes, we will be in school on August the 25th.
All right. Okay. Betsy, you have anything else?
Nope, that's it. I'll support.
Okay.
I don't agree, but I'll support.
Well, it's not easy, that's for sure. There is one more item, I believe, on the agenda, and that's a modification. Yes.
Ray, sorry, I just wanted to butt in real quick. I guess the caveat to that is unless the board takes further action or unless the governor does something that's inconsistent with the way y'all have set up the camera under his emergency authority. I mean, he has claimed the authority to close schools, and we know he's done that. So that could be the other contingency. Okay.
Yeah, we don't give anybody the impression that we're going to overrule the governor or something like that. No, that's not what we're going to do. Okay. So the last item on the agenda is the modification of procedures. This is EBDCC, our temporary modification that everybody is familiar with. Brian, you want to tell me what we're doing here?
This is just relative to the governor's executive order 1517 issued yesterday, requiring masks for every person inside an Oxford or every person inside a school building or classroom or outdoors on a school campus, wherever it is not possible to maintain a minimum of 6 feet social distance. So it just we had different language in our policy, and that his executive order supersedes our policy. So we have to meet the minimum with that.
Okay. Doesn't sound like there's need for much discussion, but let's do that if there is. Anybody have any questions about Brian's proposed changes to the policy? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve those changes.
So moved.
That's Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Betsy. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. I think that brings us to the end of the meeting. Brian, anything else?
Nothing else. That's it.
All right. Anything else from my board members?
This is Heather Leonard. We had several participants join on in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Brian, if you could just do a summary for those who have joined on here at the very end.
Brian?
Sure. Yes, we have, the board has authorized a change to the academic calendar. The first day of school will be August the 24th. The last day of school will be May the 28th. There will be changes to the academic calendar that is currently posted online with removal of certain days. And we are ready to start. We will be ready to start on August 24th. Teachers will report the 17th, and we will move forward from there.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
This is Allison Wally. There was a small claims docket. Did y'all approve that?
Oh, there was. It was in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
At the bottom. Yeah.
It was in consent.
Yeah, it was in the consent.
Yeah, it was in the consent agenda. Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
We voted to approve that. Okay. Unless y'all want to keep meeting, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right,
Second.
Carter. Second from Denny. All those in favor of adjourning say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, I'll see everybody soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank y'all. Thanks, Brian.
Bye, y'all.